Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Reapy Ron, and today we're going to be doing another kind of beginner's guide for more of the weapons. We've already done this with each of the classes and their starting weapons, so if you would like to know how to build, or at least how I build, those weapons, or if you'd like to see me try Hazard 5 without any overclocks on them, go check those videos out. So today we're going to be going over the second set, both primary and secondary, and then we'll do this once again with the third primary that was added, the most recent. So for Driller, we have the Cryocannon here, which the Cryocannon is a fantastic weapon. I know tons of people that swear by this and love this thing to death, and for good reason. It does boost your damage quite a bit. It makes it so enemies just can't attack you. If you freeze flying enemies, they just die. So it can be fairly ammo efficient. The way that I build the cryo gun kind of varies depending on what I want it to do. For this build, I'm just going to go for more of a general purpose build that kind of works towards everything. In tier 1, we have larger pressure chamber. This gives us better magazine size. I actually really like this one. It's probably my favorite one in tier 1, even though these other ones are really good too. This makes it so I can really hold down the trigger longer for crowds, which is definitely going to help us. In tier 2, again, we got some really good options. I love ammo, everybody knows that, but I'm going to go with reach for this. That 5 extra meters of reach can really help, especially against flying enemies and potentially enemies on the ceilings. It's super handy to have. Really, any of these, once again, are great choices. I don't really ever take repressure delay, but I don't see anything wrong with it. I usually stick to these two, but again, it's kind of personal preference. In tier 3, I'm going to go with improved pump, refill the pressure chamber faster. I kind of like this. It makes it so there's less downtime with the weapon. This is kind of how I usually play it. If you wanted to go for more of a DPS build, this wouldn't really be it. This is more for a sustained build against crowds and against large things. In tier 3, I usually go with extra tank size, more ammo, always a good thing. The Cryocannon is quite ammo efficient, so I don't find myself running out of ammo too often, but I do like to go with the extra ammos just because it's so ammo efficient. It's really good if you have teammates that want to take weapons or overclocks that aren't the most ammo efficient. Sometimes you can just give them your resupply. Then in tier 5, I'm going to go with cold radiance to freeze everything around me. Although fragile is also really good. You can potentially shatter enemies. There's quite a few different builds. You could build like a full ice build too if you wanted. So going with something like this, or maybe even fragile there, that would also work. But I'm going to stick to this build. Once again, no overclocks. Don't run them for this. Our secondary is the EPC, or the Experimental Plasma Charger. This weapon feels very weird when you first get it. I'm not going to lie. This weapon feels really, really weird compared to the Sabata, which is super basic and everybody understands it. The way that I'm going to build this is for EPC mining, and I'll be showing you how to do that. I'm not the best at EPC mining. I'm just going to say that out right now. So there's much better tutorials online if you're looking for an EPC mining. Maybe look elsewhere too. But I'm going to go with the larger battery in tier 1, more ammo because I'm going to be using this more as a tool. It will still work as a weapon, but I'm not going to be relying on just shooting enemies directly. In tier 2, I'm going with the overcharged plasma accelerator. This is just for faster movement speed. I really like it, although the heat shield is also not bad at all. In tier 3, I'm going to go with the improved charge efficiency. This is just so we're using up less ammo every time we use a charge shot, because that's what we're mostly going to be using this for. In tier 4, I'm going to go with high density battery for more ammo. Again, more ammo is going to be great for a tool. And then in tier 5, we're going to go with thin containment field because we need this for our EPC mining. If you don't like this build, if you want more of a spam fire build for the EPC, you could go with something like increased particle density, keep the plasma accelerator, go with really any of these. In tier 3 would be fine. Again, probably ammo in tier 4, and then go with something like plasma burn. That would work pretty well as just a spam fire weapon, and it could work in combination with the freezing of the Cryocannon if you want to use that, or it could work in combination with the flamethrower if you want to burn stuff, or it could work with the sludge pump if you want to burn the sludge. If you wanted to go for more of a charged up AoE damage build, then probably going with the high charge plasma. Either one of these in tier 2 would be fine. Probably, again, the improved charge efficiency just so you can use it more, or the cooling, either one. Go with the expanded plasma splash, and then go with something like Flying Nightmare, just so that you could just charge it up and fire it into crowds. It would work pretty well against swarmers, and it would work really well against jellyfish. It would work okay against things like grunts, and it wouldn't be super great against big things. Perks that I'm going to be running are Vampire, because this build synergizes really well with Vampire. Freezing enemies and then killing them either with the drills, with the axes, or with the pickaxe is very easy to do, and you can get a lot of health back with this build. Deep Pockets, just because I like Deep Pockets, you could really replace this with anything. Resupplier is a great choice. Born Ready you shouldn't take with this build because neither of these weapons reload, and neither do your drills or C4. So Born Ready doesn't help you at all on this build, where it works out pretty well on other builds. Or if you want to take something like the Sabata and Flamethrower, works out really well there, or the Corrosive Sludge Pump and Sabata. And then our last passive is Thorns, just to keep little stuff off me. It's just pretty handy. It also synergizes pretty well with Vampire, because if something hits you, then you could potentially hit it with a melee attack, kill it, and maybe still have your shield. I'm going to be running Dash active skill and Heightened Senses as an active skill. Dash is just really good for repositioning, and Heightened Senses is really good if there's any sort of leeches or grabbers or anything around. In a multiplayer setting, I would probably switch this out for something. Berserker works really well because we do have Vampire here. You can get a lot of value out of that, especially since you have the Cryocannon as well. Freeze things, go Berserk on something big, whatever it might be, you can kill it real quick. Iron Will's a great choice. Field Medic's a great choice in multiplayer too. Egg Hunt, Hazard 5. Just like in the other videos, make sure to check the bar for beer, see what you got. Mine's Dark Morkite, because it always is whenever I'm filming these videos. And that doesn't help me because we're not going on a mining mission. Alright, down we go. And we're here. And there's jellyfish. And there's a minefield. Okay. I'm gonna... That's not good. Alright, perfect time to try to do some EPC mining. Oh, whoops, and I overheated the gun. Okay, so that's what you don't want to do. What you do want to do is something like that. So you got to do a charge shot and then a regular shot to actually get the thin containment field to work. I'm going to try to get rid of this stuff. Okay. And there's more things here. Alright, well, we'll get rid of this. Yeah, Bosco, you deal with that. I got to deal with all of this stuff right now. It's not bad to be using the EPC as a weapon just to kill little stuff like this. I use it to pick off stuff like that or MacTerra, because this build does kind of struggle with MacTerra, at least in wide open areas like this, because we don't really have any super long range options to fight them, and that's just kind of a problem with Driller in general. Well, hopefully Bosco gets that done. I'm gonna go look for some Nitra, and we're gonna try to do some EPC farming. Oh, hey, we've got a Root Nexus here too that we could potentially kill. Now, once enemies are frozen, you can actually kill them very fast if you're running the barbed drills. I probably should have gone over the drills build. This is full damage. Sorry for not including that. But it works really well against all these smaller enemies, especially if you have Vampire with it, because you will get health back with every drill kill you get. I should really be freezing the exploders too. If you freeze an exploder or a detonator and then it dies, it won't explode, which is super handy to have, because it's not good when they explode. Oh, we got a grabber too. Nope, stay away. With any flying enemy, once they're frozen, they are dead. Doesn't matter how big the enemy is. Once they are frozen, they will die. So, even something like this goo bomber, these goo bombers. Why is there two goo bombers here? Okay, goo bomber dead. Other goo bomber in the middle of dying. Back here. There we go. Dead. Leech too? Alright. Use Heightened Senses to get rid of that. Huh. Kind of unfortunate. I don't want to get rid of this minefield just yet, because I want to use it to my advantage. Okay, let's just freeze all these. Whoops. There's another leech! Two in that close to rate? Okay, fine. Just using C4 to blow it up. Alright, just like in the flamethrower build, one thing that you're going to want to go for right away in any mission, really on any difficulty, it's more important on the higher difficulties, less so on the lower ones, is just getting that 80 Nitra so you can call in a resupply. It's really going to help you out, and it's going to make it so you don't have to worry about your ammo as much. This goes for multiplayer as well as solo. I would say it's a little bit more important in solo because you are your entire team. So, alright, we did lose a little bit of health here. Not a big deal though with this because, oh, maybe a bigger deal because we hit some explosives. But we can use our drills to get health back. We can also use our pickaxe to get health back. And our axes. Anything like that. I also just learned the other day, this was actually told to me on stream, you can use your drills to stop things like spitballers spitting at you if you just hold them out in front of you and just drill. It works that way too. Fortunately, I haven't seen a whole lot of higher up materials. If you have the EPC, at least within containment field, you can get minerals pretty much anywhere. It's going to be much more difficult at longer range. Let's try to do some EPC mining. I would recommend like practicing this too, especially if you have the magnetic cooling unit, I think, for this. Oh, there's some. We can try it on this. So, well, once we get rid of these guys. You can also use it against crowds. It does an amazingly high damage against crowds and against single targets. Simply try to shoot it above them and then set it off. That way you can do damage. Oh wait, that's not it. Oh, yes. Okay, well, I want to get the Praetorian with this. Alright, so let's freeze him. And then let's try the EPC mining. So, oh, Bosco. That can be an issue too. If the charge shots will go through Bosco, but you can still hit him. Alright, anyway, what we're going to try to do now is mine this with our EPC. The easiest way I've found to do this is not to do it head on. I actually find that to be much more difficult, but to do it from a side. So I'm going to charge this up. We're going to shoot the ball, and then I managed to get part of it, which is good. There's actually a bit more up there than I thought. This does kind of throw the material around, so it can be a bit difficult to find at times. But you can see how useful this is. You can also use this to like get teammates down from high places. Oh, I overheated the gun. My bad. Like I said, I'm not the greatest at EPC mining. I really am not. But it is a super handy trick once you get used to it. Alright, I think we've got just enough ammo to try this again. There we go. Yep, we got a little bit of it down. Very nice. Just like I said in the last driller video, you can also mine with C4 if you'd like. This is much easier to do, and I have my C4 set up for mining. But if you do something like this, you can also get the materials. It's very handy if you have a Crassus detonator that just went off and there's gold everywhere. Use the C4 to your advantage and get all that gold much faster than you normally would. I think you do technically get less whenever you use the C4 for mining, but just out of the convenience and the time saved, I find it just so handy. This has 6 eggs, which means that we're going to get 2 hordes. You can tell by the amount of eggs that you have. With 4 eggs, it's 1 horde. With 6 eggs, it's 2 hordes. And with 8 eggs, it's 3 hordes. That's guaranteed. There can be kind of smaller swarms of enemies that do come in, though. Oh, and just like I explained with the axes in the other video, the axes are super useful, and if you have extra of them, you can just throw them in the ground and pick them up later. So this is really handy for resupplies if you have 4 or more, or I guess if you have more than 4, if you have 5 or more, then be sure to toss them into the ground when you get a resupply. That way you can come back to there and get those axes later if you need them. You can also use the axes to clear up things like the mushrooms in the fungus bog. You can use them to break open ebonnuts with a single hit, and you can retrieve them. You can also retrieve them from throwing them at the mushrooms in the fungus bog. And you don't even need to hit them directly, just anywhere near them works. And remember, frozen things take extra damage, as well as if you apply heat to them, you'll induce the thermal shock status. It actually works both ways, so if you light something on fire and then freeze it, or if you freeze it and then light it on fire, the thermal shock status effect makes it so it does a lot of damage to the enemy. Oh, another thing to note, you can freeze these enemies, but they actually don't freeze solid. The rollers just don't for some reason. I imagine it's for gameplay purposes if they are rolling around, that they don't just break or something, but they still will count as frozen and they still will take more damage. So it's not a bad thing to freeze them, even though they're not frozen solid like the other enemies. Let's see, we've got another egg up and to the side up here. Oh, right there. Let's get that one. Alright, I have extra axes, so we're going to toss these aside over here. We might need them later. But even if we don't, we still get the most out of our resupply here.
Swarm detected.
Yeah, there's a swarm.
We'll be with you shortly.
Alright. See if we can also freeze a fester plate. There we go. I'm gonna try to I'm gonna try to lure the bugs through this minefield that we got here. Then come back around through it. Unless they just spawn in it. No, they're not. Alright, freeze all the exploders. Oh wait, they might be. It might just be easier to do this then. Remember to use the environment to your advantage too. You see a minefield, you don't need to set it off right away. Even though it might be tempting. Okay. I think we got decent value out of that. Killed a couple of things. The ice combined with the axes does a lot of damage too to anything that you hit. So even if you're hitting things like Praetorians or Oppressors or anything like that, you will do a ton of damage from that. There we go. I'm so used to persistent plasma, but you can see how much damage you can do to crowds with this too. It does take getting used to, and it feels kind of weird that you have to aim above something's head to actually hit it, or to at least be the most effective that you can be. But that's just kind of how it works. Oh, another thing to note about the axes, if they are glowing like this, that means you can pick them up. You can see the yellow band here and the yellow band there. If they aren't like that and they're dulled out, that means they've already been used up, technically, so you can't pick them up even if you do find them. That's just a little hint, and actually something that I didn't notice for quite a while. Put that there. Oh, hey! We could potentially do some EPC mining here. Don't be afraid to try this, but make sure the teammates aren't nearby when you're trying this, because I have blown up scouts just trying to get minerals and stuff, or completely blown apart engineers' platforms by accident too. But I mean, if you see some minerals up in the sky, or I guess not up in the sky, but up on the ceiling, be sure to try to get them. Alright, well, let's see if we can freeze that, kinda. Oh, it went down in the hole. I missed my axe. Oh well. Freeze these. We actually got a really good room for fighting, in all honesty.
Think you could kill me? Well, think again.
Alright, there we go. Everything there is shattered. Actually, I hit the wrong one there. Huh. I'm actually running out of ammo a little bit. Not so much with this, though. Which is a little bit weird, because sometimes I run out of ammo with this thing super quick. Mostly from doing stuff like this. I messed up that second shot. I shouldn't have shot it that quick.
Hang in there. The wave is almost dealt with. Dispatch whatever's left.
Alright, well, I'll just use it like a regular pistol. Okay, well, not exactly what I wanted, but good enough, I guess. Right, get our health back with Vampire a little bit. Whenever you are using Vampire, you don't want to use it up too much, because you can get a bit too ambitious with it. Have it just not pay off at all. It's okay if you're running Berserker, because then you're most likely to kind of even out at the end. But always be aware of, like, ranged enemies, so menaces, spitters, whatever it might be. Alright, well that's all the eggs and that's all of our fester fleas. That was not too bad, honestly. I wasn't sure what to expect with this run. I was expecting it would go okay, but maybe not this good. I'll just get the rest of this. Might as well. We're on our way out. Alright, let's call in the drop pod.
We're sending in the drop pod. Head for LZ.
Send it in. Hopefully this kind of helped out a little bit, at least understanding the basics to the EPC mining and kind of some of the strengths that Driller has. Driller has a lot of strengths. They have the advantage of kind of going wherever they want to with the drills. You are probably the best or second best at mining thanks to the C4, and with the EPC probably the best with those two in combination, because I don't think Scout's going to be able to get to everywhere too fast. You do have one of the best escapes as well, just because your drills are here, so when you call in the pod, you can just drill right to where you want to go. And of course, Cryocannon's great. Freezing enemies in place is extremely useful. It does take some getting used to, though, because it does feel a bit different from the flamethrower. Alright, let's just go right to the drop pod. Oh. How convenient. Oh, there's gold there, too. If you grab gold and or nitra or anything like that, and you take it to the pod, it will still count towards your bonus by the end of the mission, as well as you'll still get all of the extra gold, so you get the extra money from it if it's on your person. It doesn't work, though, if you want to count up extra secondary. So if you got mushrooms or you got flowers or something like that. So just kind of keep that in mind.
Retrieving escape pod.
Alright, let's get out of here. That was not a bad mission at all. That one went quite well, I would say. No serious issues, although it is very easy to not have too many issues with this loadout because the Cryocannon just slows the whole game down, makes everything much more manageable, and I think a lot of players really like that about it. Alright, that was only 230. Huh, we actually didn't have that many bugs for a 2-swarm egg hunt. I guess because they were the only 2 swarms we really had. Alright, so this has been the Driller. This has been Cryocannon with the EPC. I definitely recommend these builds. This is for a sustained Cryocannon build and for an EPC mining build. Wait, why did I take that? Okay, so don't take that unless you want to do charge shots. I apparently took the wrong build. Sorry about that. I should have went over the C4. C4 is just full ammo and mining because that's mostly what I use C4 for. You could have it for damage. It works really well with the Cryocannon because if you freeze something, it's not going to be able to get out of the way when you do want to blow it up. But mostly I use it for mining. And the reinforced drills, just everything on the left side for more damage. This is so I can better use it when enemies are frozen and to get vampire value off of it, because it does do 10 damage a tick when you are hitting something with it, which is pretty good. Impact X's, great as always. I probably should have took the HE grenade for this, but I usually run axes. HE grenades are okay. They work pretty much like a standard grenade in most games. They do have a big explosion radius and they work really well against crowds. But the axes are just so incredible that it's kind of hard to pass them up. We're going to be going over all the classes for this. So we're going to be going over Scouts with the M1000 and the Zhukovs. Going to be talking about the Gunner's autocannon and burst pistol, and the Engineer's stubby and breach cutter. All of which should be really fun to do. Thank you guys so very much for watching this. I hope this helped you out a little bit. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments. I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. Special thanks to the supporters of this channel. These are my members over here on YouTube and my patrons over on Patreon. They get early access to videos like this. If you'd like to be a part of that, there are links down in the description to that. Thanks everybody. I really do appreciate that. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!